running pause for y'all. Coming again.
Watch out. To your left. To your left.
Down. It's down.
Shit. He's armoring up.
Costumes.
Alright, we good. About to get you up, Ripper.
He's still here.
Oh, he's going rogue.
He went rogue. He's dead.
That salty rogue. Was he immune to the jammer?
You alright?
He was using your build.
Straight? Group right here, man. They might go rogue. Just be careful.
Let's go roll first.
Get him. Wait, right down this hallway. Oh, armor kit for you, buddy. Wow.
That one.
Oops. Let's get out of here, man. It's too tight up in here. And did that, buddy.
Beat him.
Keep coming. Wallface, you good?
Someone's dead.
Fucking Sycamore.
Got you off the ladder, huh?
Yeah, on the ladder too. You saw it.
Oh.
Crazy.
Contaminated gear detected.
He's running.
Or two
There's a terminal near the checkpoint.
The guy on the left. Be careful. Don't push the NPCs too much.
Engaged.
I got the vision. I can keep pulsing. It's right here.
See him?
Yep, I'll cover you.
I'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. You get it.
He's down. Down. Black is to the right. Got him down. About to get up. Alright, let's go.
What's up behind us?
Ooh, flag here.
You trying to run, though? You trying to run?
No.
I don't know what you.
Down.
Yes. Shit.
Rifle build.
Contaminated gear detected.
Oh my god, bro. Down.
Hive detected.
Oh, OnlyFans.
Oh, we gotta go rogue now.
Ready? Go ahead. Down. Got one down back there. Push up with me.
Oh,
he's dead.
You're right.
Shit, one behind us. Behind.
Behind.
Rogue agent neutralized nearby.
Damn, there's two behind us.
Got him down.
Rogue fixer drone detected.
Fire's gonna get him.
Alright.
Got him.
Down.
System malfunctioning.
Down.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Be Righteous back from Identity, and I have an absolutely amazing build for you today. Remember back in TU6 when I said that I was gonna start an urban legend series and that playlist would feature the best urban MDR rifle builds? Well, this is most definitely a candidate for that, and it's actually my first rifle build in this patch. It is extremely strong and it has inspired me to make another build similar to this that'll be able to fight pestilence users 1v1. That's how strong this build is. So if you're interested in builds from DPS all the way to skill for both PvP and PvE, then please drop a like, and if you're new here, then don't hesitate to subscribe for dedicated weekly content. Decapitate. That word alone speaks for itself, with headshot damage so high that once hit by this, it doesn't matter how much armor the enemy has, they will feel you. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out ways to fight more efficiently in PvE, and also compete against all these different types of builds in PvP. I'm talking about verse brand set DPS builds, negotiator gear set builds, and most importantly, True Patriot Pestilence, which I'm in the process of making a counter build for if they don't nerf it first. Honestly, I don't understand why they haven't nerfed it in this patch. It doesn't make sense to me, but we gotta keep it moving. This is, however, what I call a hybrid DPS. You should play from a distance with it, but being that it's a hybrid gives you the capability to fight from close and long range. Precision weapons are what I'm most efficient with, so trust me when I say I put a lot of thought into this build. So here it is. Alright, here we are. I honestly couldn't wait to show you guys this build because the new update just came out and I've been waiting for these Sawyers knee pads to change, and these are one of the best changes in this patch, but let's get to that later. The specialization I'm going with, sharpshooter. Now this build is definitely gonna go in my Urban Legend series because it is great. I mean, just when I was playing with this in the DZ, it just felt so natural. This build is so fun to play and it's so effective, especially since I love rifles and I love this play style. It's like this is the way that I play the best. I put a lot into this build, so let's get right into it. For the primary weapon, the Urban Mdr Rifle. Now I made a video called 5 Advanced Combat Tactics that you need to know, and in that I was talking about the Urban Mdr and how I think it's the best rifle to run because it has a hidden headshot multiplier that no other rifle has. 30% more headshot damage. So you're better off using this instead of MK17 or, you know, other rifles. This is kind of modeled after a build that I made back in 1.6 called Headless. Very effective build, insanely strong, and it's even stronger in this patch. The talent I'm using is Breadbasket. Breadbasket is a perfect talent for rifle builds because when you're using a rifle and when you're shooting at somebody, you can tend to hit the body in the head naturally. That's just how it naturally shoots, right? And so Breadbasket, when you land body shots, it adds a stack of bonus 35% headshot damage to the next headshot for 10 seconds. So when you get 3 stacks, the next headshot does 105% more headshot damage. I'm going to show you the stat sheet later on in the video like I always do, but I'm doing 200% headshot damage without anything else. So when this bonus is at 3 stacks, I'm doing 300% headshot damage with that shot. When you're trying to create a counter for a build, which I'm going to attempt to do for the Pestilence, you have to first identify that build's weaknesses and then try and figure out what can counter him based on those weaknesses. One aspect I know will counter people is damage, and this does a lot of it. The next weapon. Alright, so ever since I played Division, I noticed that there was only one meta sniper that people used. In Division 1, it was like the M700, right? Some people used the M44, but I personally like the M700. And there were plenty other snipers in Division 1, but nobody used them because they just weren't meta. It was the case for that in this game as well. I would use the Nemesis all the time. But when I made this build, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to use a Nemesis. I mean, I know that there's no limit anymore. You can just hold it on as long as you want. But this sniper rifle is called the SR1. It's modeled after the designated hitter. It's a named sniper rifle. So I put on here Ranger, which amplifies weapon damage by 2% for every 5 meters you're away from the target. And of course, since this is a sniper rifle, you're going to be at a distance. So it's just going to amplify your damage. And when I tell you the damage is crazy, I'm one-shotting people with 1.9 million armor. Like a couple of those clips that you saw were people who had like 1.8, 1.9 million armor. And if you're efficient with this weapon, you can hit those headshots. And for the pistol, I'm using the Mozambique Special. You know, why not? Perfect Breadbasket gives you 50% headshot damage. So onto the build. The mask. I'm running the Overlord for the rifle damage, of course. And what you want to do is you want to get as much headshot damage on this build as you can, because headshot damage does so much more damage than when you hit him in the body, especially when you get a crit, because, you know, crit damage and headshot damage are both additive, but when you put them together, it's multiplicative damage. Chest feast. This is a great chest feast. I was wondering how I was going to make a build with this, and it just finally clicked once I got it. Another headshot damage roll, and weapon handling is good, especially for people who are using a controller, because I know that when you use a controller, rifles is a bit harder to use than ARs or LMGs. So if you have some weapon handling on here, then it's going to help you a lot. This has perfect focus, which increases total weapon damage by 6% every second you're aiming while scoped 8 times or higher. And this goes up to 60%, but it requires a scope with an 8 times magnification or higher. So the specialization specific scope that you get with the sharpshooter is just right for this. It gives you 45% headshot damage, which is nuts. And it's an 8x scope. But perfect focus, I thought it worked differently than it does. But when I actually used it, you don't actually have to be scoped in the whole time for this damage bonus to be up and increasing. You could acquire other targets, you can reload, you could move left or right a little bit, and the damage bonus will still be up. So perfect focus is great for this. And if you want to put it on your Urban MDR or your other weapon, you could still focus in. But I don't want to use it with the Urban MDR because that's for more close engagements. The holster, Providence. Now Providence gives you 10% headshot damage for the first piece, which is what you need, and 10% crit chance. Now who doesn't love crit, right? So you might as well get the 2-piece. This came with headshot damage and I rolled crit chance on it. That's pretty much it for the holster. For the backpack, I have my second piece of Providence. Now I've been searching the DZ for the gift. The gift, if you don't know already, is a named backpack that has perfect vigilance. Now before you go crazy in the comments, I know that a lot of people are saying that the backpack talents aren't working in PvP, but I make my builds based on how it's going to be and how it should be. So I'm hoping that they fix this pretty soon. If they don't, I'm still doing a ton of damage, and I don't really see another talent that is better for this build, because when you're using rifles, you're going to be at a distance. You want to be the first one to take the shot. So when you take that first shot, you want it to be as much damage as possible. Vigilance will do that for you, because what it does, it gives you 25% weapon damage when you don't take damage, and this buff disables if you do take damage for 4 seconds. Now the perfect version of this, which is called the gift, it doesn't increase the damage or anything like that. It just makes the cooldown 3 seconds instead of 4 seconds, which is pretty huge in my opinion. I mean, the less time it's disabled, the better, right? This came with these stats and I rolled vigilance on it, so it's a pretty good backpack. The Araldi I have from my SR1 marksman rifle. So the 2-piece gives you headshot damage and marksman rifle damage. I could have better gloves than this, but when you farm for DPS pieces, they don't roll with an armor core. And as I said before, my standard for PvP, I want it to be 1 million armor. I don't want to be too squishy, I don't want to be too tanky. I want to be able to do enough damage and out sustain anybody else who's like a glass cannon, or just be able to survive in battle. I mean, 1 million is a perfect armor threshold for me to be at. It's just good for me, but I mean, if you guys are comfortable with it, you can go ahead and throw another weapon damage core on here, which I have right here, but this is what I'm going with. So I'm going to farm for better gloves that have a higher headshot damage roll. Alright guys, the highlight of the build, the Sawyers exotic knee pads. And if you've been a subscriber of me, I've loved these knee pads in 1.6. I made a build called the Disruptor, I made a build called the Infiltrator. I love these knee pads. Now they changed them completely in this patch. They used to allow your jammer pulse to completely destroy skills, but now they changed it to where it has a talent called Stand Your Ground, which is awesome if people try to spam seeker mines, and also when you're in cover, because you're going to be in cover a lot, and if people throw grenades at you, you won't even move. You just won't move at all. So what they changed for this is that it increases your total weapon damage by 3% each second you're not moving. It stacks up to 10 and they're lost when you move. So if you're sitting in cover for 10 seconds, you get 30% weapon damage. And you can just be in cover without even engaging in combat, right? And then when somebody runs up on you, you got like this burst of damage that you hit them with that they didn't even expect, just from sitting in cover. Now, if you couple this with perfect focus, also increases your damage while you're scoped in. So you can get up to 90% extra damage when you're scoped in and in cover in this build. The perfect sniper combination and a perfect rifle combination. Not to mention the explosive resistance it gives you in case people throw grenades at you. I mean, 10% is pretty good. And if you want to roll some more explosive resistance on your build, you can, you know. And for the skills, I'm running Pulse, which has a pretty good cooldown, considering that I have 0 skill tier. If you notice in the gameplay, I kept pulsing and I kept having that vision. That's very important in this build. It has a 110 meter radius, so you're going to be able to catch people in this pulse from a distance. You want to be at a distance and you want to zone your enemy so that they won't be able to get the jump on you. And it also provides vision for your team so they can see where they're coming at, which encourages communication, just helps out the synergy for your build. The second skill, the Decoy, is another great skill to have when you have 0 skill tier. It has a 24-second cooldown and it lasts for 16 seconds. It's really good for PvE, but for PvP, it's also good. Don't sleep on this, because I even shot at a decoy before realizing it wasn't that player, and then he snuck around and killed me. So this is good. It's actually a distraction. And if you play it right, you can use this to your advantage. And that'll be it for this build. It's a straightforward damage build. It has great synergy. I mean, some of the greatest synergy I've seen in a DPS build. If you like snipers, if you like rifles, this is the build for you. It's a hybrid DPS build that allows you to play close and at a distance, be effective with the team and be effective solo, because you got the vision to be able to scout out where your enemies are and where you need to go. And I especially suggest that you use this since they nerfed the M1As to the ground. So that'll be it for this build, and if it helped you out in any way, please drop a like and don't hesitate to subscribe if you're new. Join the Identity family. Until I see you in my next video, be right out.